Hello everybody, welcome to episode 10 of Building the Hunger Games Land and Ride and Theme Park Tycoon 2 Roblox. We are finishing up the land in this episode, but before we do that, please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video and you want more. So we are first starting off the video by building these two buildings right next to each other. These are kind of the final buildings of the whole land, and they're going to have some of the most character in them. Not really the building I'm building right now, it's kind of just a filler building, but the next building, it's going to have some cool interactivity elements to it, and I say that, but that's really just some windows that employees can open and talk to. Employees being entertainment can dress up like citizens and kind of interact with the guests, and I think that would be really fun in this area, make it a little bit more lively. So you're going to see some character to some of the buildings and the color and what I plant around it. I'm just starting off by building this building on a slant, so when you're walking into the land or walking out, you kind of see this slanted building. It kind of adds a little bit to the land, making it look more, not organic, what's the word, I guess, I don't know, constructed, I guess, I don't know, but yeah, that's going to be the idea for this building. It's just plain windows, and it's on a slant, and there's going to be a door with some beads hanging, and it's going to be a little fun building. Just a lot of detail and line work to kind of make it look more modern and more in the time of the Hunger Games. The next building I'm building is a little bit more colorful. It's the most colorful building in this land, and it's a combination of colors like green and brown and things like that. I really gotta drink some water. Pause. I gotta drink some water. Alright. Now my voice won't crack for another minute, maybe. But yeah, so we're just finishing up this building. We're continuing the lines on the other side. I've already announced this, and I've already said it in the past full tour, but I really would love to do a Hunger Games land. I think that might be the next thing, but first we gotta expand the park, maybe add some new things around the lands and update some things, because there was some new items added that Dennis added, and I use them in the ride for sure, because it's helpful. Things like grass is great, and some nice potted plants that I'm gonna plant around these buildings. That was my dog. And yeah, so it's gonna be very, very interesting the next few videos, because I don't really want to build the ride, most of the ride. I'll do some of the big scenes and post those, but I kind of want it to be a surprise for you when you watch the POV. I think that'd be pretty cool. And yeah, it's not like you know the story. I haven't told you guys the story, but I just think it's the right move, and I don't want to drag on this series for too long, so I'm just going to get it out of the way and build it off camera. I usually build a little bit faster off camera too, so it's just going to be better. So those are those beads I was talking about. So when you walk in, you got to walk through the beads, and kind of like a hippie building maybe. And yeah, just gonna add the glass, and then we're gonna move on to the next building because we've done enough of this building. Those are the new flowers I was talking about, and just seeing if I can fit one in there, and I did. And we're gonna kind of continue, and on top of these roofs here is gonna be forced perspective buildings, so it's gonna look like you're in the heart of the city, and it's gonna kind of loom over you if you look at certain areas. And I just kind of dragged this out because it'd just be easier just to put the buildings right on top rather than putting them on a little pedestal or anything, which I do for one of the buildings that's behind the Tribute Trials obby. But besides that, yeah, there's one building near the entrance, one of the entrances of the lands, and then there's one behind Tribute Trials, and then there's two right next to each other that you can see from the food court that I built a few episodes ago. And yeah, we're just gonna add more detail to these poles. This was something I was gonna do, but I just never did, and so we did it, and they look a lot better now that I've done that. So we're just going to extend that over to the other one, and then the other one to the right there. And yeah, it's gonna look cool. Another thing I did off camera was the actual sign of the Hunger Games. I think I placed it in the video, but the actual 3D part of it, it's just time consuming, and it doesn't really look good on camera when I'm zooming in and out. But yeah, we're starting this next building, the brown building with green accents, and the total building is yeah, it's gonna have like a little interactivity element to it, and you'll see me build it out where the employees can kind of climb a ladder up and talk through it and pretend it makes the Capitol more lively. And maybe they could be Capitol plants to make it seem more normal for the guests, for the outsiders like us. You know what I mean? So yes, that bottom window though is gonna be like a bunch of TVs with the Capitol logo on it, kind of making it seem like, I think there's this one scene in the Hunger Games movie where they were looking at one of the windows and there was a TV that was telling the Capitol citizens like, Katniss Everdeen's in the city and look out for her and all this stuff. And yeah, you can kind of see the backstage stuff there that I'm building out inside of the building, which I leave in because I usually don't leave in things like that, but I think it would be interesting. All right, water break. All right. So we're continuing. You can see the ladder I was talking about, because there's really not that much room in this building. It's obviously for show. Right on the inside of it is the station building, or a little bit of the line for the Hunger Games ride. But yeah, I think it's important to kind of do this to your parks to make it a little bit more lively, a little bit more like if someone's actually going to be walking around here, they can, access the backstage and stuff like that. And it's also just good to fill out your park like that and add a little bit more storytelling. So I'm just gonna do that. I add some curtains in those windows and some potted plants as well, just giving it more character. But yeah, we're gonna do the TV I was talking about, that little room. We're gonna kind of build it out, and then I realized it's a little bit too out, so I moved it back in a little bit there. And there's the door that I do last, because doors are kind of tough to do in this game, especially because you can't like carve them out or anything, so you kind of have to really build them in layers. So this door, I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty lazy when I did it. But yeah, those are those curtains there, so you can't really see back there, but there's stuff back there, but you can't really see. And there's that green accent I ended up doing. I think I changed the colors a few times, for the building, because the first few batches of colors, they didn't really work out for me. So we're just adding little details, little trimmings and everything like that. That's honestly, this building kind of looks like it's like a pattern building, if that makes sense. It's very like, it relies on the pattern for the design. So that's what we're doing. And yes, we're going to be doing that for a little bit actually. But yeah, we're going to do this railing. It's a little bit different from the railings that I did over at President Snow's, which are like chessboard pieces for the poles. And we're going to copy and paste that over and put it on the other window. And there's just a lot of storytelling elements in this build. I think at the very first episode, I was like, I wanted this area to be more like where the citizens live and things like that, rather than the first half where it's kind of more, it's more just like seatings and things for the Capitol people to watch the Hunger Games on these big screens and things like that. Adding in this more trimming, because like I said, this is really relying on its pattern for the design of it. And yeah, we're kind of gonna do for a little bit. We also do a little bit of the entrances. I actually opened them up, so if you were in this world, you could explore it and see all the detail for the world. But the ride's not done yet, so we're gonna do a little bit more episodes on that, probably like 3 or 4, maybe 5, if maybe, I don't know, we don't know yet, but it will be set. Those are those TV screens I was talking about, putting them in finally. And oh yeah, this pattern is kind of like a flannel. It's kind of like a flannel jacket pattern, which is kind of fun. And now we're putting in the little things, we're putting in the details. So things like this sign that says keep the peace, propaganda posters, things along those lines, we're going to start putting those in now, which is probably the thing that makes my park stand out because of how much things I'll pull from the internet and just put them on my parks. I did not make any of these signs. I just pulled them from the internet, Tumblr, things like that, because Pinterest. I'm not a graphic designer. I have a little bit of experience in Photoshop, but I'm not the best. So I'm just going to pull it from the internet, and hopefully that's that. So there's going to be a bunch of posters everywhere. Like right here, this one says Snow knows best. So Snow obviously knows a little bit more than me, obviously, because he knows best. And I think that's kind of fitting because it's near Snow's house. And then we're putting this other poster that got covered up with new posters. So you can kind of get the vibe. It's Poster Alley in here. And it kind of just adds a little bit to the land for guests to read and for you to read. And now we put in the sign and Hunger Games Strike Fire. The word fire is all red and everything like that. And here we go. We're going to be starting these forced perspective buildings, which is fun. It adds a lot to the land. In my opinion, it is what makes this land stand out from the rest of the park, because we have some of these buildings in the Last of Us land, but you can't see inside of it because it's inside of a soundstage. So this is going to be, from one of the entrances, you can really see this towering landscape of buildings, and kind of lures you in a little bit. So we're starting our second building. It's a round shape, and it's gonna have a little bit of a lookout area there, and then we add some light towers and things like that to make it a little bit more realistic. And you can see I kind of grade the colors like a color gradient, because the lighter you go up, it looks a little bit more taller. It looks like it's kind of getting lost in the sky. So that's kind of the goal there, which is nice. I think there's this building, and then there's 2 more after this. So there's a total of 5 buildings. No, 3 more after this. Yeah, so you can kind of see. I'm just making sure you can see everything nicely from the parking lot, the way I want you to be seeing it. So yeah, we start the third building here. The first building, I really just copied it from the back of Snow's house, those buildings, and recolored it, got rid of the top area. But you know, it is what it is. No one's gonna notice unless I told you. So I told you, so that's a little secret. That's a little secret you'll hear on the VIP tours. And I also have everything testing in the park, so it gives it a little bit more liveliness. So I usually don't do that, so it can save on my frames per second, but it's gonna be sped up anyways. Y'all won't notice unless we go to the cinematics and you notice and you complain. But hopefully that won't happen. So yeah, we're just kind of adding this one pole, making it a little bit taller, because I'm pretty sure you can really see this building from certain angles if you can only see the light pole, which is okay, which is fine. I keep on saying light pole. I think it's called it's just like a cellular tower or something like that. So yeah, you can kind of see I was just checking it out again there. It's always good to look back on your buildings and make sure you don't have to change anything about them or things like that. So this is the tallest building I'm actually building, and this is going to be behind the tribute trials, and it's going to be like a reddish building, starts kind of like pinkish, goes down to red, and or goes from white to pink to red. It's a kind of interesting building with its colors, but it's very basic in the way it's designed. And yeah, and it's also going to be on a pedestal. So I don't know if you've ever been driving before, but if you drive to Disney's Hollywood Studios over in Orlando, you can see the outside of Galaxy's Edge, and you can see these towers of rocks that are actually backstage. They're on little pedestals, these metal pedestals, so they can save money, first of all, and also it will give life to the land. It'll look like it goes on forever. So you can see me putting it in there, and we're going to then add the structure so it's not floating. Water break. All right, so the final things we're going to do in this video are the things that really are the most important things for your park. If you don't do this really, then it doesn't really look as realistic. And that is putting in the trash cans, putting in the lights, which this land doesn't really have lights. It's more going to be just spotlights hidden everywhere. But we're also going to do some benches, and yes, you can see me actually opening up everything. Very exciting. Very, very exciting stuff. We're going to continue this pattern over to the other side so it's a little bit more consistent. You can see me look around there, and after these trash cans and after the benches, it's going to be fully done. And then all we have to do left is some scenes in the ride. And I'm already 1/3 done with the ride. Most of what I've recorded is 1/3 of the ride. It's going to be a long ride, but it's going to be worth the wait if you gotta wait. But we are coming up on the end of the video, unfortunately, but also fortunately, because I've been talking for 17 minutes straight. Help me. And you can hear my voice. It's dying. It's dying at that point. At this point. So we're gonna hit the cinematics in a little bit. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Please do so. I would greatly appreciate you joining my little corner of the internet. And yeah, you can kind of see I'm kind of just capping off the land by building backstage elements, just also things to hide, things poking out. And yeah, pretty productive episode if you don't say so. If you don't say so. But yeah, I'm just doing the final things. I'm building this bench so people can sit, wait for their friends to get off the ride, because it is a little, it's not too intense, but it is a roller coaster. So yes, we're gonna hit the cinematics now of the final cinematics of the land. So thank you for joining me. If you've been watching since the beginning, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And here we are. All right, I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.